Coming up on Half Mile of Hell.
I just know that Reg won last year, and that's the first time he's won it in his history, and he kind of likes it, and I don't blame him.
Once you've been to Calgary, you always want to be there.
You know, it's nice to race wagons, but you know, it's nice to make the playoffs once in a while too.
Dodge puts up $240,000 and to give away a truck in front of a crowd.
You only had 40 days of racing instead of 43. If you don't like it, start showing up at the meetings and fix the problems.
It's the West's original extreme sport. 4 horses hitched to a wagon, racing hell-bent for leather around a half-mile track. The stakes are high, and disaster is only a heartbeat away. These are the Cowboys, and these are their stories. So hang on tight, because you're about to ride the Half Mile of Hell. It's the final night of racing in Dawson Creek. Reg Johnstone and Kelly Sutherland are locked in a tug-of-war. The battle for the world title has never been closer.
Dash for cash, Swamp Monkey style. The horde and the charge is underway. Stones go in. Outriders mount up. Reg Johnstone comes out alongside of Kelly Sutherland with Jason Glass to the rail position and Mike Higgins to the outside.
At this point in the game, any advantage could lead to victory. So Reg antes up $500 to file a protest.
Well, I thought Kelly was a little narrow coming in on Jason because he made his lead team throw their heads in the air. So, fight for the world, you work all the angles. He grandstanded in Strathmore and give me one, so I'll turnabout's fair play.
Kelly Sutherland is ahead by 3/4. Jason Glass, Rex Johnstone closing in a hurry.
It's not the first world championship that I've been fighting for. I've been in a lot of situations, and I've seen a lot of people react to certain situations. So I just know that Reg won last year, and that's the first time he's won it in his history, and he kind of likes it, and I don't blame him. It's pretty nice to be the champion at the end of the year. You know you beat them all, and I'm sure that he'd like to repeat that.
Your protest come back, and it's been denied.
Kelly's victory stands. It moves him to just 8.5 points behind Reg, setting the stage for a thrilling world final in Red Deer. It's the final week of the Chuckwagon Tour. Before heading to Red Deer for the Dodge World Chuckwagon Championships, Chad Harton makes a pit stop at home. It's the first time he's been here in weeks.
Yeah, that's one thing. It was nice to get home from Dawson. We got home earlier in the morning, and just nice to drive in the yard and have the comfort level of being home.
Although he's out of contention for the Worlds, Chad's life is always moving at a breakneck pace on a track that has no end.
This year I hope to make the top 8 to make the tour finals. And I'd hope to win one of the major shows and just keep improving. I think I've taken care of my sponsors to a great level. I try to give lots back to them.
You ask any wagon driver here if any of them would have come up with that idea, 100% would say no, other than Hardin.
You gotta help a guy when he's down like that, so someday maybe you'll get some help back.
I have not a clue where he is at any given moment. If he's not at the barn or the trailer, he could be at 35 other chuckwagon drivers' camps.
I just do not think it's my place on earth to be there to watch a baby be born.
Businessman, wagon driver, officer of the Chuckwagon Association, race director. Chad's commitment to his sport is all-consuming. What little time remains for family hasn't been enough. Just 6 hours later, the Hardin crew is on its way to Red Deer.
There's the horde and the charge is underway. Stoves go in, Outriders mount up. Hopefully Mona Willow off that number 1 barrel.
The World Chuckwagon Championships are the home stretch drive on the WPCA circuit. At the end of 4 days, a world champion will be crowned. Red Deer will also conclude the battle to qualify for the Calgary Stampede. Last week in Dawson Creek, Shane Carter and Jason Johnstone were in the thick of that battle. 21st place in the world standings is the cutoff point. Shane's performance in Dawson moves him to 18th position. If he can hang on, he'll qualify for his first trip to Calgary. Jason remains right on the bubble in 21st place. But a new challenger has emerged.
There's a horde in there off Coach Cosgrave. Quick on that number 1 barrel. Nice turn at the top body. Left turn, southbound and down. Coach Cosgrave streaks to the early lead with Mike Ligon in hot pursuit.
For the past few shows, Colt Cosgrave has been coming on strong. A stellar performance in Dawson Creek vaults him 10 positions in the world standings. Coming into Red Deer, he's right behind Jason in 22nd place.
Here comes the kid. He's out in front. Coach Cosgrave by 2 and opens him up.
We got a great shot at Calgary. You know, this isn't 2 nice outfits I got going here, so yeah, we're just got a little bit of luck with us now, and no, hopefully we can ride her out.
Colt and Jason are longtime pals. But with a trip to next year's richest wagon event on the line, friendship will be left behind at the barns.
We're all buddies, and we all want everybody to make it, but there's only one spot, and she's going to be a dogfight right to the finish. Back here, we're all buddies. Out on the racetrack, we're just another competitor.
There's the horde. They're off in a hurry. Good start for Leo Turnier and Mr. Jason Johnstone. Here comes Troy Dorchester and Colt Cosgrave. 4 wagons across the track, westbound into the sun.
When I look at the standings this year, it's got to be extremely stressful for a number of guys because 1 or 2 big runs puts them in, and 1 or 2 mediocre runs, not even poor runs, put you out. That is a minimum of $100,000, and on some of those guys, it's a $150,000 hit. You can't tell me that isn't the most stressful thing that those guys have faced.
And young Cosgrave opens them up. He's had a great week, drawing into the final heat in Dawson Creek just a week ago. Colt Cosgrave is out in front. Right direction into that 3rd turn. He is side by each with Jason Johnstone and Troy Dorchester. Wall of wagons in behind Colt Cosgrave.
It's day number 1 at the World Chuckwagon Championships in Red Deer. Colt Cosgrave is closing in on Jason Johnstone in the standings.
Heading him into the home stretch. Cosgrave up the middle. Can he hang on? A burst of speed from either side, but they don't have enough racetrack. Colt Cosgrave gets there by a length. Look at the race.
A few more runs like this, and Colt will replace Jason in that final spot for Calgary. For some drivers, the last event of the season won't be nearly as stressful. The pressure is off Mark Sutherland. He's already qualified for next season and for Calgary.
I think the key is that you have to be competitive at the shows that you deem necessary, and I'm pretty happy. The horses were very competitive where they needed to be. That gave me the opportunity to practice the new horses, give them the race experience that they need. That'll only make me tougher next year in terms of competition, and also allowed me to, to help out Dad, and that means a lot to me too.
It's a gracious way to end the season. But rest assured, Mark still has unfinished business on the track.
It's just an emotional relief that he is all right, even though I felt he was going to be okay.
I'm not changing my outlook on life. I'm not changing anything except my harness.
I'm very proud of him, the way he has turned the corner. The only thing that he doesn't like to do is gamble, and that's probably the difference between him and I.
I have no competition issues with Dad. I'm glad that he's the best. Do I want to beat him? Absolutely. I don't think I'd like this sport that much if my family wasn't with me.
We were there all week and it was so exciting. So when you didn't hear his name called in those top 4, it was crushing.
I'm not necessarily happy being just the fastest chuckwagon driver that almost won something.
And then you go to Mark Sutherland in the middle of the backstretch, ahead by a horse length. And here they come in the sun. Now Buddy got a clear shot at the finish line. Here comes Mark Sutherland. He's going to get it by half a length. Buddy Bensmiller is second.
At the end of the weekend, Mark will finish 9th overall for Red Deer and 13th for the season.
The horn and the charge. Good start right across the board.
The pressure is also off for Chad Harden, but it isn't stopping him from achieving a new goal.
Well, same thing we had all year. We still want to stay in the top 10. We're right there right now in the bubble, and the first time we've made a top 10 since we joined the World Pro Association. So that's still our goal. We're going to try some new horses today, different positions, and have some fun at this show.
Lane McGilvery to the outside. A late charge from Ray Prado Jr. Too little, too late. Tyler Lane and Ray Jr. and Chad Harden rolls into the B4 in heat number 7.
We tried some things that didn't work perfect, like an old veteran team, but got him in another race, and oh well. Clean, didn't get no demerits, so plugging along. 3 days left of racing.
Production and marketing here in Alberta. Reg Johnstone, the reigning world champion, has a shot at doing it round 2 here in the next 4 days. He was last year's Dodge Tour champion as well.
The barrel draw has become a huge factor in the Sutherland Johnstone race for the World Championship. In Dawson Creek, Reg had the upper hand, but now the tables have turned.
Well, the draw is really what I needed if I was going to pass Reg, but I needed to be insiders, no doubt. I mean, him and I have been neck and neck all summer, so got the draw. He's at my right hip, and that's where I need him.
For 3 out of the 4 nights in Red Deer, Kelly will start on the inside of Reg. From this position, Kelly will have more chances to grab the rail. Without this advantage, Kelly's shot at the world title would be over.
The horn and the charge is underway. Good start right across the board. Normie is tight on the 1 barrel. Now he smokes him. Kelly Sutherland to the outside of him off the 2 barrel. Reg Johnstone sandwiched in the middle, and Jason Glass to the extreme outside. 4 wagons across the track.
I can't remember it ever being this tight for the world against anybody. Anything can happen in a wagon race, and it ain't over till Fat Lady sings.
Traveling alongside his former coach, the man he outrode for many years, Kelly Sutherland, okay, drilling to the outside.
I got to beat him, every night. I got to gain that 8.5 points back, so I got to be clean. That's the first thing, and then run tough.
Now here comes the duel we've watched for 3.5 months. Reg Johnstone on the inside, Kelly Sutherland on the outside. Smoking Norm Cuthbertson gets this one by 2. Reg Johnstone will be second, Kelly Sutherland third by a half.
It's only night number 1, but the World Championship may have just been decided.
Here comes the duel we've watched for 3.5 months. Reg Johnstone on the inside, Kelly Sutherland on the outside.
Coming into Red Deer, Reg Johnstone has an 8.5 point lead on Kelly Sutherland in the world standings. On night number 1, he defies the odds of his barrel position and finishes ahead of Kelly. The victory should have sealed the World Championship for him, but a penalty is going to change everything.
They said there was some interference in the second turn. They were behind me, so I have no idea what went on back there. I know Reg was running out of arms, and he was kind of banging and clanging there.
And coming in on Normie Stovrak is Rex Johnstone. He's all dressed up, no place to go. He's got a pole, he's got a wall of wagons in front of him.
Two of us pulled to go down to the rail, and I get down there, and my wagon's slewing back and forth, because now I'm running all over top of Kelly and Norm. And I mean, it looks worse than what it actually was. So it puts me behind the 8 ball, so now I gotta really come gunning.
I know you'd have to look at the film to see, because where I was sitting, like, you can't really see because you're going to the rail.
There's no sense in protesting it, because they run around and get the cameras that they want to find the infraction on. I think it was a bullshit call.
It's a huge upset. Reg is hit with a 2-second wagon interference penalty. It allows Kelly to move into the lead by 3.5 points. It's been a long and difficult season for the Frasers. To celebrate the completion of the journey, Sue is making her famous breakfast. It's known around the wagon community as
bacon and eggers. They evolved last year. I found these wonderful, wonderful cheese buns in the supermarket. So anyways, I brought those home and thought this would make a great breakfast with some bacon and eggs and some cheese on it. And I just strummed that all up and served it to the kids and the crew. And wow, they thought that was a wonderful morning meal. How better to celebrate something than in a meal?
For Rick Fraser, family has always been the sweetener when life turns bitter.
It's getting to be a little bit different for us because our kids are growing up and starting to go in their own direction and do what they want to do instead of what we want to do.
He offered me a good chunk of change per ride and a job. I should have told him about it earlier.
I'm really hurt, that's how it is. But I did learn something out of it. You treat people with respect as always, but you treat your son like your son. I want to see the film tomorrow morning. Absolutely the most frustrating thing I've ever been through is these guys. I am done. I'm not going to waste my time and be frustrated the rest of my life, Susie. No more. My goal for Barry is make the Calgary Stampede. You know, he asked me to drive, and I really let him down. There's more to life than chuck wagons. When it's time to cash out, you'll want your family there.
As they charge to the top barrel, 4 wagons simultaneously hit the racetrack with Kirk Sutherland to the inside, Rick Fraser in a sandwich, and Rick Dutch to the rail.
Yeah, Red Deer, we weren't looking forward to it. It's been a rough year. You know, we would like to have gone home at Dawson Creek because the year hadn't gone as we had planned. Rick had goals set, and those goals weren't met.
Well, there was a point where there wasn't going to be a next year. Sue and I talked about it, and we thought, you know, we'd go until I was 50 for sure.
Kirk Sutherland, they're not going to catch Swanberg. He gets it by a length. Kurt Miller second, Shane Carter third, and Rick Fraser is fourth in Heat 5.
Despite his disappointing season, Rick has already qualified for next year. Now he must find a way to do the same for Barry Hodgson. Colt Cosgrave has missed the cut for the Calgary Stampede the last 4 seasons. He has just 3 heats left to crack the top 21, or he'll be sitting out for a 5th. His good friend, Jason Johnstone, is the only man standing in his way.
There's the horn, they're off. Good start, Colt Cosgrave, High River Autoplex and RV up that number 3 barrel to Troy Moy inside of him, and Leo Turnier scoops the rail as he 2-wheels it on the track, but it's Colt Cosgrave, High River Autoplex and RV.
Once you've been to Calgary, you always want to be there. You know, that's the worst feeling in the world. You know, to see everybody else out there racing wagons, and you know, I'm sitting at home doing nothing. You know, you guys got to take his chances and, you know, cut the barrels, and hopefully Locke's with us.
Remember, they're battling it out for the qualification to the Calgary Stampede, and Colt Cosgrave right now puts in a good run.
If Colt Cosgrave wants to compete in Calgary next year, he needs to bump Jason Johnstone out of 21st place.
The guy on the front end on the engine is Colt Cosgrave, the Hand Hills, Alberta rancher. Cosgrave will get there by 2. Troy Dorchester second, DeLeo Tournier third, and Jason Johnstone fourth in heat number 4.
Well, it was excellent. Ended up second day money. We jumped ahead at Dorchester and Johnstone, and you know, those are 2 of my best friends in the world, and you know, I hate seeing them guys out of Calgary, and you know, it'd be nice to have us all in there, but you know, what do? You get outfit working, you know, you hit that racetrack, and you know, you got to throw lines at them and go. So
I didn't perform like I can. Colt outrun me by a long ways, so he bumped me out of being in Calgary and made himself in Calgary. So, but tomorrow's a new day. Always have to run strong tomorrow.
Heat number 9, this is the big kahunas right here. Reg Johnstone's on the 4-barrel, number 2 in the world. He hasn't been there all year. He's been number 1. This guy now is 1. Kelly Tubble is on the 3-barrel, and he's won the Red Deer Show way back in 1979.
Reg and Kelly have been thrilling wagon fans for over 30 years. This battle for the world title is their closest ever.
Well, when I'm running against Kelly, we're always in for good wagon racing because him and I are highly competitive, and I got to come gunning to try and get back what I lost last night.
The horn in there, off to a great start. Johnstone on that 4-barrel is quick. Sutherland to the inside of him. Jason Glass off that number 1 barrel, scoops the field, gets the rail at least. Look at Reg fly. Oh, he does it every time, but look what's inside his wheel. The lead team of Kelly Sutherland. Nope, he's going to have to go around. Jason Glass filled the hole, and Reg Johnstone popped to the lead by a length and a half. The bash off flash. He flashed to the front end of that number 4 barrel. Johnstone around the 3rd turn. Jason Glass turns up the Hummer powered. Kelly Sutherland has moved to the rail with OK Drilling as they set up for the home stretch drive. Here comes Jason Glass with too little, too late. Johnstone gets this one by 3/4. Jason Glass second. Look at the race for 3rd. Normie by a nose over Kelly Sutherland and OK Drilling in a well-driven heat number 9.
Reg finds redemption. He moves back into first place by 14.5 points.
Yeah, much better night. I did what I had to do. That's the only hope I had, to get the front end of them, because tomorrow night I go to the inside, so it just takes a little of the pressure off.
Well, didn't go too good that time. Got outturned. They just didn't seem to work quite as strong as they should have. Johnstone made the front end, and the rest is history. It's going to be tougher, but I got 2 runs left, and I'll give her a licking tomorrow, see if I can get them to work a little stronger than they did tonight, and then we'll see on the final night. I go back to 1, so I got a good draw there. So
when we go out there, you need to just step up here and wait at this front part. Dawn and I are going to go shake our booty up at the front, do our thing.
On day 3 in Red Deer, preparations are underway for a fashion show.
Had my zipper wide open.
Volunteers from the wagon community will take to the runway, all in support of a little boy named Ty.
Okay, so instead of doing it twice, then we'll let Eddie go up.
Ty is the son of wagon driver Leo Tournier and his wife Kim. He was born in a Toronto hospital with a rare condition called vein of Galen malformation.
I believe when Ty was born, there was 4 or so cases in the world. There wasn't any medical literature on it. There was maybe a half a page, and the prognosis was, it wasn't good.
The blood vessels in Ty's brain hadn't formed properly, and as a result, his heart was working overtime.
They're usually not strong enough to live past the first trimester. So Ty was a case where he was strong enough, like it's incredible, like his heart just kept, it was strong enough to keep going.
During the first weeks of his life, Ty's progress was monitored very closely.
They found at about 2 months that he wasn't progressing like they would have liked him to. So then we brought him to Toronto. He had a procedure called an embolization.
This extremely delicate procedure would shut down the malformed vessels in Ty's brain and relieve the stress on his heart. But it was risky. It could cause brain damage.
And it was supposed to only take a few hours, but how many hours?
Took 6 hours, that first procedure.
That was 6 hours of stress, I tell you.
At 18 months, Ty still wasn't walking. So the choice was made to try the procedure again.
Right after he went for that second embolization, I couldn't go because I was competing in Calgary at the time. She phoned me and said that he was up and walking.
This time, it worked. The happy little boy took his place in the wagon community.
He loved preschool. He just loved everything.
If he seen somebody driving a quad, he was over there.
In February of 2004, Ty's health took a turn.
They took an x-ray of his heart and found that his heart was 70% bigger, like it took up almost his whole chest cavity.
Ty was immediately taken back to Toronto.
So the doctor came in the room and she said, you know, I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do for him. Ty walked up to me and he looked at me, he says, Mommy, are you sick? And then I put him on my knee and I hugged him and I felt horrible because there was nothing that we could do.
Go home, that's all he kept asking. Dad, when are going home?
But it wasn't to be. In his mother's arms, Ty's battle ended.
I got to hold him and feel his last heartbeat. I actually had my hand on his heart and I felt his last heartbeat. So that's one blessing. At least I got to be with him when he passed away. So, or we both did. We kind of look at the blessings that have come of this too, and we just feel that our son had a purpose, and that purpose was to help another child not have to go through something like this.
The Tourniers have formed a foundation in Ty's memory to help continue the research into this rare condition. $16,000 from the Red Deer Fashion Show will support their cause. The fundraiser may be the only ray of light on day number 3.
Stoves go in, Outriders mount up, and Floyd Bradshaw, that number 4 barrel, heads into the eye of the storm.
Just 2 days remain in the chuckwagon season. 2 days to decide a world champion, to qualify for Calgary, and to qualify for next year. Every heat is precious, so day 3 is a go, despite the weather.
That rail position, Mopar, as they battle a hailstorm. It's getting white and it's getting rocky.
No, well, you take like this water here that's running there, right?
And it looks like it's going to come back, eh?
Big circle.
Like it's coming back in.
Side by side in a hail-out situation as they go at it wheel to wheel into that 4th and final turn.
It's too bad here on this, between the 3rd and 4th corner. If somebody goes in here, we could have something go down. For safety reasons, we cannot run on this track.
Okay, on Monday they've got something happening at this venue. As a rule, we have to be out too sweet, but it's something that we can check on tomorrow.
After just one heat, a cancellation is inevitable. Losing a day at this point in the season will have huge ramifications. The drivers assemble for their most important meeting of the season. Two decisions are on the table. Can the lost day be made up so that everyone has a fair shot? And if so, will the major sponsor be satisfied wrapping up this event on a Monday morning in front of an empty grandstand? For Chad Harden, it's a trying time being the race director.
Because he told me that he has guys moving in tomorrow at noon, and he has to have it clean by noon, and we ain't gonna be out of here if we run tomorrow morning by noon. I know, I'm just telling you what John Harms told me yesterday, because I tried to check, when you bring them in and put them in the other barns till 4 o'clock or whatever, right, to give us some leniency, right? Physically, we cannot run tomorrow morning.
Why? There's lots of time. We could be out of here. This place can be clean.
Okay, here's my comment on this, Jason. You guys have got a $250,000 sponsor in Dodge.
Yeah, but this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about can we do it, and then we'll discuss that. But can we do it?
If you guys are professionals, take a hit when you gotta take a hit. Otherwise,
the guys can't afford the hit. You see young Jess Willard and Jimmy Nevada, if they'd have been in Calgary, they'd be wagon racing today. So we're talking, not me. If I don't win it this year, I'll win it next year. If not the next year, I give a shit.
That's wrong.
But you want to make sure that right now it's guys that are, if you were on the bubble or I was.
I know that, but I mean, it's always going to be that way. It's 21 guys that make it. Dodge puts up $240,000 and 3 trucks to give away a truck in front of a crowd. You know, so that's got to play a little bit in the back of your mind. I'm not saying that's got to make your decision for you, but we got to honestly think about that.
Why is this year all of a sudden so much more important than when we canceled in 04?
That's the past, though.
But I mean, it's weather. It was out of our hands. It was out of our control.
Well, this we can fix.
This isn't out of our control over here.
Why was 04 out of our control? Why couldn't we
I'm stating the same frickin' argument now as I did in 04, Jerry. I don't believe it's right.
43 race days.
Look, you asked me a question.
None of them are important until you get to the last one.
Because it's your fun. That's why, Jerry.
For me, it doesn't matter. But the guys that are fighting to get to Calgary, that's a $100,000 hit. And I think it's very important if you can run it at all possible, everybody gets a chance.
Finally, the track manager arrives with information that ends the debate.
Well, it's pretty much logistically impossible for us to let you run tomorrow. We've got crews booked tonight to start cleaning this building, and crews booked at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to clean the barns.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's just not going to work out.
Okay, well, appreciate that. That's what we needed to hear from you.
That's what we wanted to hear.
The association is simply out of time. The World Championships will lose a day of racing and conclude as scheduled with tonight's heats.
The point is what's best for the association, what do we got to do for the fans and our tour sponsors, and finishing up on a Sunday afternoon and presenting the world champion. Guess what? We only had 40 days of racing instead of 43. It's the way our association goes. If you don't like it, start showing up at the meetings and fix the problem.
Sounds in the final day of the World Championship round is underway as stones go in.
Mother Nature may have cut the championship short, but track conditions are perfect for the final day of racing.
Great start right across the board. They're quick on that number 2 barrel.
Rick Fraser hits the track one more time to qualify Barry Hodgson for next year's tour.
On the outside, Rick Fraser and Grant Prophet hold the overland route, the big trip way around the outside to the rail.
When I started driving, he was in Calgary. This is the part that I'm so upset about. We went from being in the Calgary Stampede, you know, to trying to stay out of the runoff. To me, that's not very successful.
Troy Fladd to the inside, Rick Fraser with a late charge, but beat it up. Troy Fladd gets there by 3/4. Rick Fraser will be second.
Rick's final performance for Barry takes 15th overall for the day and 28th for the season. Good enough to keep Barry out of the runoff and ready to rebuild for next year.
We're going to take what we learned this year and apply it to next year. I'm sure the heck not going to make the same mistakes.
It's been a learning season, that's for sure. Things don't always go the way we want, but he's not a quitter, and neither am I, so we'll be back for next year for sure.
I got one shot at getting back into Calgary, and so I got the pick of the barn. The old man, he just smiled and asked me what I wanted to drive, and I just smiled back. Said, we'll see when I harness.
You know, it comes down to one night for the world, one night for Calgary, and one night for the runoff. So I just need to be clean. Outfits are working, I know they're running, so I just got to drive them.
It's time to settle the Cosgrave-Johnstone battle for Calgary once and for all.
Cosgrave trying to gain some speed, doesn't want to give up that rail position.
Calgary's huge, you know, it's biggest money, biggest crowds, you know, it's the biggest show in wagon racing. You know, it's nice to race wagons, but you know, it's nice to, you know, make the playoffs once in a while too.
Cosgrave with High River Autoflex and RV, they don't go at it wheel to wheel out of that second turn. Friends of Heritage Park, Jason Johnstone in hot pursuit, and Colt Cosgrave.
Oh yeah, this is wagon racing right here. It comes right down to the end. This is what we come to race wagons for.
Round the fourth and final turn with Troy Dorchester in hot pursuit. Jason Johnstone has some speed, just needs a hole to drive through. Colt Cosgrave up the middle. Jason Johnstone to the inside. Troy Dorchester to the outside. Colt Cosgrave hangs on by a neck. Troy Dorchester second. Jason Johnstone third by a horse length. And Leo Tournier.
Colt wins the heat, securing 20th spot for the season. Jason Johnstone takes third and finishes 22nd, one position out of Calgary.
It's good on him. I'm going to go over and shake his hand and have a drink with him and congratulate him on making it. He deserved it. He come running and outrun us.
I guess we get to go to the bright lights next year. No, it feels good. Boys are working, so no, can't wait to see them in Calgary next year.
On top of making Calgary, Colt captures his first show win. At the end of the night, he's the Red Deer Aggregate Champion. The Calgary Stampede has been a lifelong dream of Shane Carter's. He's never been closer to it than this season. Over the last few shows, he's been skirting the fringes of qualification, but today, he makes the dream a reality. Chad Harden delivers the official news.
That's all right, eh?
I haven't seen it yet.
Congratulations.
There we go. Holy, a heavy split.
3 points out of 16.
Yeah. We're in Calgary. It's huge. You go there and run, that's something nobody can ever take away from you. And you run when you're little and you watch it on TV, all that. I get to go do it now, so. It's what every wagon driver wants to do in his racing career is go to Calgary, and next year I get to do it.
Chad also delivers some news to his longtime barn hand, Logan.
I would say you better take the opportunity.
For 5 years, Logan has been like family to the Hartons. But now he has a job offer with career potential, and Chad doesn't want him to miss it.
I bet you if you ask him the right things, you're gonna have a better family plan and everything else there, and benefits. I think you better go, man. Wouldn't you say, Daryl? Yeah, it's the end of the year and have to make some decisions, and that type of kid, when he gets into something, he just doesn't like change. I don't know how far he's gonna go, but I gotta get him out of the door sooner or later just so he has an opportunity to go do something where he can make some money, because back here at the barns, it ain't the best paying job. Now it's time that he steps aside and goes and gets something else. No, you do what you got to do, but I would jump on it for now anyhow.
I have so much stuff that I have at home, my hockey team, and being away from my horses is a big thing too. Not being able to come and help Chad. My family's all at home. I don't know too many people in Calgary, so I'm stuck right in the middle right now. That's all I've been thinking about for probably the last 3 days is what should I do?
I don't know, if I quit, you might have to sell the farm and everything.
Oh. Yeah, I know everything revolves around you now.
I know it does.
Of course it's going to be sad to see him go. He's part of the family. He's one of us. It's Logan. You can't find Chad, you dial Logan's phone number. But you know what? He'll be coming home to see his mom and dad, so we're just a step away.
You come do morning chores till 8 o'clock, then you go to work, and then you're back at 4 o'clock when you're done.
For races?
Strathmore's the same, it's close.
Yeah. Drummeller's not that far.
Shit, that's even a better deal with my sponsor. They can pay his wages.
He can get High River then? What a good idea. We thought of this, Chad.
Edmonton, he can just work out of the Edmonton office.
There's a hole. The charge is underway. They're off.
Chad has one more piece of important news to deliver. This bulletin is a big one, and the recipient will be his wife.
Three and three wide, and then moving in behind is Chad Harden and Spartan Control.
At 31st overall for the day, Chad Harden's final performance of the year will not be remembered as his best. But he has managed to achieve a career first with a top 10 finish on the season. The year has been a success in many ways, but it's come at a price, and it has cost his family the most. Something has to give.
Well, I've thought about for a while here how much I've been doing for the association. I just decided it was time to give it a break. I think I spent 4 years out of 7 on the board here, and it's time I spent some time I can with my family.
So were you on the board for one more year?
Yeah.
Why?
Just so I could spend more quality time with you.
With Todd?
Yeah, with Todd. No, I'm not. I went off.
Well, I told you if Todd was going to be president, you can stay on one more year.
No, he's not, for sure yet.
So you're not on the board. So what's the good news?
That's the good news.
You're spending more time with us.
Yeah, I knew you'd be happy with that. See?
Okay, whatever you choose.
Wagon racing. To compete is to commit everything. Time, money, family. It can be a difficult road, but the drive for victory always keeps them coming back. Jason Glass, Norm Cuthbertson, Reg Johnstone, and Kelly Sutherland. After 39 days of racing, they are the top 4 drivers. After their heat tonight, one will be world champion. The cancellation of day 3 has made a close battle even closer. Reg lost his only chance to run on the inside of Kelly. But with a clean run tonight, he can still win the title.
Kelly's on 1, I'm on 2. I just got to turn on his end gate and stay there. And he can't gather 14 points on me. He can't outrun me by enough if I just stay on his end gate. I just got to stay close to him.
For Kelly Sutherland, the most decorated driver in the sport, do-or-die situations are what it's all about.
There's a reason you win, and that's because it's the utmost thing in your life. I spend basically every waking hour and probably lots of sleeping hours trying to accomplish that. I don't necessarily think that's the healthiest thing in the world, but that's kind of the way I was built. I'd quit tomorrow if my kid quit. You know, as every year comes and goes, I mean, certainly I think a lot more of it. I've achieved what I set out to do in this sport. I'm not done winning. I mean, I have a tremendous drive. Well, that's the ultimate. I'd stated before. I mean, there'd be nothing better than to run against your son for $100,000. But he's got to beat me, and that's quite an accomplishment because a lot of guys haven't done it. In the final, that's where you got to win. You gamble, you do whatever you can to win. It doesn't matter because they never, ever remember the guy that runs second, ever.
The horn in the World Championship round rounds the top barrels with Kelly Sutherland and Rex Johnstone matching strides again on the racetrack. Holds him to the outside. Jason Glass ducks in behind and Ron Streeper trucking to the outside with Norm Cuthbertson. And now the duel we've watched nearly every Dodge Tour show this year. Kelly Sutherland, OK Drilling, has the rail. At his right elbow is the lead team of Glencoe Resources and Rex Johnstone trying to gain some speed. Norm Cuthbertson watching with amusement in behind as Kelly Sutherland cranks him up a notch. And here comes the Bashaw Flash. Stride by stride, he's inching his way to the front end. It's far from over. Jason Glass holds him out a little bit. And here they come around that fourth and final turn. The man they call the King when he's doing his thing with all the King's horses and all the King's men headed westbound with the Bashaw Flash in hot pursuit to the outside. Jason Glass will trail in behind McKelly Sutherland by 2 1/4. Jason Glass.
It's a solid victory for Kelly, but will it be fast enough to surpass Reg?
Unofficial, John, unofficial. And maybe I shouldn't even go out on this limb, but I think 2 points is separating the two, Kelly and Reg, and who's going to win, but they tell me 2 points.
Well, she's all in the time. I got the job done. I don't know if it's enough. Eh? I'll run him. So you see how many guys stuffed in between us. Eh? That's the big thing.
Now we wait to see what happened. See whether he outrun me enough or not.
Winning the World Championship by only 2 points. See the feather? World Championship number 9 for Kelly Sutherland.
Hey, thanks, boys.
Mr. Martin Soley. That's what she's all
about. The best 2 outriders in the world. He is a premium driver, man. Unbelievable, eh? And if there's anybody that I like to beat, it's one of the best, which is Red Johnstone.
Here we go again.
Thank you. Well,